Welcome back. As you can see, we're a little short-handed this weekend. We had a lot of stuff go on, and of course, we've got some hurricane things that are going on, and we've got buddies out there trying to help everyone recover and get back with some power on. Shout out, Ray, wherever you are. I hope you're dry.
Nah, dude, that dude's soaked.
There's no way. It's Florida, right? It's always wet. So, I mean,
that's fair.
You know. But yeah, so he'll be back with us next week, probably, hopefully, maybe. We'll see. And then Derek's out of town this weekend doing stuff. So it's just me and Brian tonight.
Oh, yeah. Not bad game.
But don't worry. We'll take care of it. We've got this. So real quick, tonight we're going to just go over a little bit of week 2, week 3 highlights, just things to make of note. But we really don't want to go too far into detail to have folks start doubting who they're playing and drafting and all that good jazz. Just how it normally looks at the beginning of most seasons anyhow. So the goal is just to, again, like just chill out. Don't do anything crazy yet. Well, at the end of the show or towards the middle of the show, we'll talk about ideas and what you want to do to maintain solid rosters, but still try to fight on and keep things up. So without much than that, so we'll start with our week 2 highlights.
I like it,
Brian. I know in the league that we're in this year that we're really competitive in, you're off to a 2-1 start, like myself.
Doing terrific. I can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm loving.
No. So your week 2 highlights. Anybody that pops off to you?
Off the rip, honestly, James Robinson and T. Higgins. Definitely
Robinson.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
pull up his stats here. I think it's already known.
I mean,
he's that first guy. He's that solid guy in the backfield over Etienne. I definitely could see Etienne pulling up a little bit of
a wrap.
I could see him definitely putting a little more workload in when it goes into deeper into the season, especially when you're getting tired, you're getting strained. Yeah. There's always the risk of injury. But yeah, honestly, let's see, 19, 15, and a 20-pointer last week. I think that is phenomenal. He's getting tons of carries.
Also, where you draft,
Yeah, especially I ended up, if I go on here, I drafted him at 109th overall in the 11th round. That really goes to show that you could definitely find talent in, especially for drafts later in the draft, or if you're still looking into that free agency, there's still always that talent kind of lingering down there. Injuries are definitely prominent this season. I know Keenan Allen has been. I think he just got ruled out for another game.
He did. He's out this week as well.
Also,
4.
of course, like Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry, they're a bit banged up. I think they had limited practices this week.
They did. They both logged limited.
I know Jacoby Myers is a guy I looked into just to take a peek. He had 2 solid, great 2 weeks, and then he ended up getting banged up. I think, it was on his knee here.
Yeah. I think he was out last weekend.
Yeah, so last week he is still questionable. However, they're saying he's playing, and so we'll take a look at that.
We'll pick the Patriot bone clean in a minute. That's something that we certainly have plenty of stuff to talk about because despite our countless advices, there are Patriot players on several of our rosters that are, guys that we may have to play kind of thing, right?
Especially when buys come up or injuries like suddenly pop up out of nowhere.
And that's a great point too about injuries when you talk about Robinson. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand Robinson's definitely number one. If Robinson's out that week, Etienne's an auto start.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And it's not
as soon as Robinson's hurt out for a week, whether it be, I don't know, he's got a cold or
it's just banged up, it's just a little sore, whatever, right? Like, if that's the case,
definitely gonna be that dude.
Etienne's your
definitely
guy,
that dude.
So at this point in the year too, I think Brian, like and this is something that's just been proven over the week 2 and 3 for our season, right? My gambles so far, it has paid off, but not in the way I thought it would. The first gamble
going.
The 3 receiver off the rip.
The 3. Okay, that's what I was making sure. That 3 receiver draft class off the top.
So it's Pittman being out week 2 definitely sunk my ship. That was tough. That was a tough one to overcome.
I think honestly, I think the whole Colts offense, defense. I think the whole Colts are just tumbling out of nowhere because in my other league, I had a first round pick. I was like, perfect, Jonathan
JT.
Taylor. I feel like you can't go too wrong with that. I mean, he is still definitely producing.
I wouldn't be worried yet. Not yet.
No, I think they're gonna find their groove.
Yeah.
They play Jacksonville. Jacksonville's on another level right now. We're not really sure what that is about.
We're gonna get to them too,
but because definitely.
And on that too, right? So like right in the part that you were talking about with this is I'm gonna say it a million times all season long, right? I am aware that several massive starters are not doing well. I'm a Jazzy Jeff owner. I can tell you now, it's not great. It's 2 weeks now where I've had to survive his bolos, right? That's it really, and that's what it is with straight bolos, right? There are, and I think the frustration, this is something I've noticed in our league too. The frustration isn't that JT's not doing well. The frustration is that he's not doing well at the place that you drafted him. Like it's your number one pick.
Yeah, like that, exactly. Like for JT, like you draft, like he was supposed to be that guy.
Yeah. And the season's young, but yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
But yeah. And so,
I'd even say,
okay, bro. Go ahead.
I was going to add on how you have Jazzy Jeff. I was going to add on Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Jamar Chase is
lost
another
in the
one.
sauce, not really picking up too much.
Hill,
on the other hand, it seems to have left off where he's been him.
I really knew that he would not really have too much of a problem adjusting. And it's just because there's a lot of talent on that team, not just at the receiver or quarterback or running back positions, but like that line, although two is getting crushed, and that's a whole other thing, right? Especially last night's game. But it's tough just because how do I word it? there are even more starters than that too that have just not played super well. I would say Josh Allen's game against Miami, that was a bolo. I would say Debo is not boloing, but Debo is capable of so much more.
I'll pull it up right here. I completely agree. He's got 12, 14, and 12.
Yeah.
Oh, at least in our league settings, at least. It literally, he's getting reception, he's getting carries.
Yeah.
He just needs to fall into the end zone.
Yeah.
And it's a 20-point game.
Yeah.
Just like that. So I think if you have Debo, I think that's definitely someone that you should just kind of like, he should be definitely right in that slot.
Yeah,
I don't think he needs to be going anywhere. Because honestly, with this season, the way points and way games have been swinging left and right with like Jacksonville on top looking good.
Detroit.
Dolphins weren't too bad. Detroit's fighting for their life because they know they have the talent. They just got to put it together.
But it's fantasy gold. I mean, there's a lot to like about that offense.
If you can get a Debo Samuel that's sitting at easily double-digit points every week, even if it's like 10, 12, you're
going to have to let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's, a couple of other big names. Kamara. It's tough.
Oh, yeah.
Tough right now. Watching Kamara, I know he's super
sledding.
strong. And then, not that he's done extremely poorly, but Derrick Henry, right? Still hasn't really set that foot down and say, hey, I am in charge on this field. Hasn't really happened yet.
I think that comes down to also the Titans. Same kind of with the Colts situation.
No, very much so.
Everything's just kind of flipped up in the air, and they just can't get it. It's like they don't have like a game plan. It's like they forgot what they did last year to work and win games. Yeah. So I get try new stuff and adjust, but it feels like they threw that playbook out the window.
Yeah, I'm gonna read a couple of teams that I think are lost in the fucking sauce, and then if I hit one that you don't agree with, let me know.
Okay.
Denver.
Hit me with it. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Denver. I think Russell Wilson is not.
They're not gelling yet. They're out of position. He's missing throws.
He didn't play preseason at all.
No, that was the thing that I noticed too. Like I understand experts don't usually need it, but the fact that he's brand new there was a huge
brand
thing.
New to the system, the coaches, the players. Yeah. It's all about chemistry and timing. So I don't personally, as me, I would have been at least a quarter preseason or something. But as Denver Bronco, I completely agree. Not working out.
Carolina's
got a little bit of a fight in them. I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan.
It's messy.
It's messy.
Right.
It reminds me of Pittsburgh Steelers football.
It's another one I was going to list.
Oh my!
Yeah. New Orleans. They have the talent.
I don't know what I don't have an explanation because they, like you're saying, they have the talent.
They've gotten better than last year, and they're
They
just
have-
so much
they-
worse right now.
I don't know what
You know?
it is. That I don't know if it's just their timing's off, the connection, the chemistry. I don't know if the sun is just turned sideways. They're just not playing well or something.
Yeah. Raiders.
Devontae Adams off the rip. For some reason, I don't know if it's just because, hey, everybody knows and playing, which don't get me wrong, if you're anybody playing a team that has Devontae Adams, he's a playmaker.
Yeah.
He's just not nobody.
Yeah.
You're going to have a game plan for him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand why the Raiders don't have him in
Complimented
better
in other parts of the field.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to be complimented in another part of the field. Like, I'm hoping if Josh Jacobs gets going a bit better.
I think he will.
which he has. Like last week, 14 points.
Yeah.
Pretty solid game.
No, I think you keep
I think
playing
once they
him.
get that rolling a little bit, I think Devontae Adams and the Raiders will start finding a better groove.
Yeah,
For
I
the
mean,
rest of the other teams, I don't think they have a shot at figuring anything out.
San Francisco.
Jimmy G back at the reins.
Disarray.
I think that, honestly, I think it just comes down to that offense coming back together because they were game
it's the
planning
same.
throughout the
It's
whole
the same thing that they were last year. It's the same team.
It is,
You know.
but they were all going off of the timing of Trey Lance.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, that's absolutely
So
a problem.
I think after a little bit of practice, a little bit of communication, timing, I don't expect them to do Super Bowl level performances.
But
because they're
maybe make the playoffs. Maybe.
I could definitely see
Yeah.
them fighting for a slot, but
You know what? Any team right now that I'm forgetting that you're like, dude, this is a shit show.
I do want to hit back on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
As much as I love the Pittsburgh
No, I'm the same there with you, dog.
I'm not an offensive coordinator.
It's funny because the
But
Steelers don't have one either. Not from what I saw.
No, I saw a picture the other day where everything's being thrown to the outside. Don't get me wrong. I know sometimes coming in the inside, you can get your receiver.
Yeah, no,
killed
that's true.
and rocked. But that's just already setting up the defense to have a game plan.
Yep.
Hey, we'll just stick to the outsides. Don't let them go deep, and kind of have like a
Make the
Roman
tackle.
couple linebackers just
Yep.
sitting in the middle, watching the quarterback, see if anybody does kind of slip in. I think Mr. Trubisky's I'm not saying he's an elite quarterback and you should put him on your team. It's not what I'm saying. I think as a Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, he could do something.
Yeah.
He has a potential, he can make throws, he can move and get out of the pocket. He loves fucking Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah.
I've already seen that through the preseason and a couple of these other games.
3 games straight that he's gotten plenty of
He
targets.
loves that big dude. Let me take a look at these. 12. I mean, 6 they played Cleveland because they were lost.
That was a bad game, the whole offense.
It was a short week.
Except for Pickens'
Honestly,
once-in-a-lifetime grab.
George Pickens with his grab, that needs to be plastered everywhere.
That's why you drafted him. So throw it
That's
at him 10 times a game.
That leads to my next thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers is he makes those catches.
Yeah.
And I just saw an interview with him today about even practicing back when he was at Georgia, right? Correct?
Yeah, Georgia.
Georgia. He was making the same crazy catches, snags,
Mm-hmm.
bullying his defenders, and making plays. So
The
I don't
blocking
understand.
ability is
Yeah,
huge.
in the blocking. I'm not putting blame, but if I were to, I think it's an offensive coordinator.
I 150% agree. I think I can't figure out if it's – here's my best analysis of it. It's a college offense. It's a college offense, right? So if you're going to play a college offense, you're going to have a bunch of receiver screens. Okay, for every coordinator out there, hey, guys, the NFL has caught up.
Why
the
are we
receiver
throwing
screens
a fucking ball
are going to
3
get blown
yards
up.
behind it? Yes.
They're going to get
Why are
blown
we
up.
doing that?
You may – of the 10
It
I'll
might
see,
work once.
9 will go for a loss.
Yeah.
Right? And
Or there'll be a hold.
yeah, or there'll be a hold. That's the other part of the offense too that's been screwing us right now is if you don't have that clear decision of what you're doing from the running and throwing, illegal man downfield. I've seen it like 10 times on the Steelers. It's
I haven't
constant.
seen that. I think that's across the board.
It is. No, you're right. I've seen it a lot all season, right? Where it's like, oh, I held onto the ball. You're supposed to hand that off. And now it's a 5-yard penalty and bring it on back.
Yep.
You know what I mean? whether it was supposed to be handoff or not, and I know plays evolve and you're trying to make some, I feel you.
And like you audible out of stuff.
But if your guys aren't tracking and understanding how you think and how you're trying to salvage plays, they're going to fuck up because they're going to go too far downfield, think it's a different play, right? Mm-hmm. Which is something that happened like 2 or 3 times with Steelers in Cleveland. It happened 2 or 3 times easily, right? What I'll say is what's encouraging. The Steelers defense is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Even I would say I understand TJ Watt has a big piece in that.
I feel you.
I still as a defense,
it's good. The only time I was screaming at my TV, it was the Cleveland game. Go figure. The only time that I was losing my mind, Cleveland had just gotten to like the 10 or 12 yard line, and I'm watching the lineup. I was like, "You have a safety on Amari Cooper. You have a safety on Amari Cooper." Yeah, no, he was 10 yards away from the receiver touchdown. Wasn't even close. Yeah. I could have thrown that.
Hello.
Dude, just put it right here. He's going to beat a safety every single time. Right?
Or, for example, they're not following a Njoku.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it.
Njoku.
That ball got to him. He's a big dude and just kind of boloed, fell forward for like 6-7 yards every time.
If you're gonna leave that space, I'm gonna throw to him 16 times a game. I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to drive.
Don't get me wrong. You don't want to give up everything over the top and do big plays.
I feel you. But Amari Cooper did whatever he wanted. Amari Cooper was very rarely stopped, and I understand that's like the whole point of his job in Cleveland. I feel you. No, I hear you. My frustration is things like if you're not going to double him up or put a safety on top, then you're just going to be prepared to give up 20 yards of play because that's what he did all night long. And if it wasn't him, it was Njoku. And if it wasn't him, Nick Chubb also went for 130 yards.
That dude's just a menace.
And that's going to happen, right? So, like, you wouldn't necessarily have lost just because you gave Nick Chubb 130 yards. That's not necessarily.
No, but that leads me to my next point, Jim. I'm going to cut you off right there because I'm excited about this.
Oh.
That leads me to my next point. If the Pittsburgh Steelers can drive the football down the field and take some time to their offense, I think they'd fix a lot of it. I don't think the defense is bad at all. Granted, don't get me wrong. Some of those plays
those happen. I don't call defense bad because they lost the cover.
No, it's just they're 3 and out, or like they'll drive a little bit and then have a penalty and bring it back.
Yeah,
it's just even if they drive down the field and kick a field goal, that's setting up them way better. That's 3 points. You get to kick it to them rather than them just shooting the bucket and now they're taking over on downs or not having a great punt or whatever it might be. So
I mean, and that's something that I'm really watching this weekend. Let's see how the Steelers can rebound.
Long week after the Thursday night game.
Not only that, but all right, Brian. You know the chance. You know the fans. They want.
I'm well aware. I've heard it.
What do you think? Is there a realistic chance he comes out in the next couple of weeks? Is the Steelers lose out like 1 or 2 more games in a row? Does he come in?
No, Mike Tomlin doesn't give in to pressure. Mike Tomlin doesn't give a fuck about the fans.
Yeah, I mean,
he does. He does an aspect of he loves his fans and likes that, but for fans to put input like that, nope.
And to be honest, like that's probably the best call you can make. I'll be real.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. I watched all of his pick games. I went to his championship game. Right, it was great. It was awesome. But like, you need to understand that by and large, almost every rookie, if they can, are being afforded an off year because the adjustments are that massive, right? And it's like, if you look at a couple of really, really great quarterbacks currently in the NFL, Pat Mahomes sat for 2 years, man.
Yeah, he
didn't start a single game for 2 years. And then, yes, he's absolutely in charge. Yes, of course, right?
Yep. Aaron Rodgers
did the same thing for him. Jimmy G behind Brady for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't do anything. And now he's like he's a good quarterback. It's a different
he's
system,
solid,
but he can play, right?
I think I would love Mitch. I think play out the season. I don't expect a Super Bowl, but I want them to play as if they were trying.
Yes, yeah. I mean, as long as they can, stay competitive.
That gives Kenny Pickett all that time to practice, get information, learn. Because after I think we signed him for a 2-year deal. After that, after Mitch is gone, here's the reins.
Yeah,
this is your team now. Because again, with Big Ben, sat behind Maddox,
Tommy Maddox.
Maddox, there it is. Yeah.
That's an old name. I'm surprised I remember that one off the rip.
That's a bit ago.
And what I will say too is here's the silver lining from the Cleveland game. Here's the things that I liked. Pickens had 8 targets. Keep that up. Keep it up.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's going to turn out good.
The hard part, like I know social media is like really front loading Pickens in a lot of these conversations. And like there was a stat that I was looking about. It's called the separation stat. And what it is the amount of time that a player is 3 to 5 yards away from his defender, which is the NFL description of open. It's 3 to 5 yards of separation, right? It was like 90-something% for Pickens. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And honestly, his amazing grab had maybe 6 inches of separation.
Yeah, which is
right.
Crazy.
Like the idea is like, I understand this happened when Claypool went off his rookie year, right? Like we were middling, and then he went off for like 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns.
Destroyed. I remember destroyed Philly.
Right. So I'm by no means he's still on my bench. He's not going anywhere. Just give it a little more time. I'd say another 1 or 2 weeks. And I think actually Pickens becomes very startable. Certainly if you're down a guy and you got like, Ayuk, in my case, I have Ayuk on the bench ready to come in for any one of my receivers that are stacked right now, right? But just sit tight there. I would not be too
even as a fantasy standpoint for the people. Deontay Johnson still 12, 13, 16 points.
He's getting the targets.
If it comes down, he's getting targets. He's
getting the targets.
If it comes down to like the injuries, the buys,
the length of the season,
up. TikTok, it's coming. Johnson is definitely a replaceable person there.
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh, well, that's good. It means
don't worry about that.
Yeah. Anyway.
No.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to harp too much longer on like we'll talk about Pittsburgh all night, right? Because there's a lot of things that are in the future going to be super important, and that's awesome, right? But I want to push on just a little bit. A couple of other games that were honestly, since we're talking about games that are frustrating and terrible, this Denver game the other night, dude.
I don't think I.
How are those professional athletes at some point? Right?
I don't know.
It was. I understand. I'm a podcast dude. I don't know shit.
Right? Yeah, I say. But
what I'm saying is,
like we have to say.
But what I'm saying is, the whole time is that Ray was saying it correctly. He was like, "Hey, let's take this team that we can't run on and continue to run on them." And then Denver was like, "By the way, we don't throw the ball anymore either. We just run it 3 times."
Yeah, which is odd.
Yeah,
you just paid this quarterback, traded for this quarterback.
You cannot tell me that. Sorry, it's a mistiming on the sip of water. My throat's
all right, fine. Yeah.
My apologies. You cannot tell me that, like, I'm not going to pick that bone too much because it really is too easy. We're going to push on to week 3. Just a couple of highlights. There are certainly a lot of things that I'm super excited about. A little vindication, and that is CeeDee Lamb. Oh, thank God. Okay, listen, if he didn't have like a decent, solid game soon, like this is kind of at the position that I picked him in the draft, right, which is my number 2 overall pick, right, because it went Jazzy Jeff, CeeDee Lamb, and then Michael Pittman, right? That was my first 3.
Solid picks.
And it worked out great, right?
Allegedly,
right? And CD had been struggling with Dak. The whole offense had been struggling. Yeah. Then Cooper Rush comes in, and CD is like all of a sudden like, yeah, he's playing every weekend. I don't give a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Cooper Rush,
11 targets, 12 targets, 14 targets. Volume,
yep.
right? And I know like people never shut the fuck up. Like, oh, but he dropped a huge pass. I'm tracking. That's the stat of a great athlete. Is he also caught the game-winning touchdown? You got to get over it, man. You have to push right through that. Dudes are going to drop passes. It's a thing. It happens, right? The best of the very best. Matter of fact, last night, Chase Edmonds hits squared in the chest in the end zone with the football. Can't grab it. Right? Just boom, hits him square in the chest, right? Like it's this whole thing. It was wide open. Well, the defender fell, but like still, it was a clear area of where the ball was going to hit.
He could definitely have grabbed that.
Frustrating, right? But like this is the example. It doesn't matter really that one drop because I'm going to tell you something. When they got rid of Amari Cooper, CD's the guy.
Yep,
he's the guy. Dalton Schultz is a great tight end. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly going to take his volume. And Elliott and Pollard are good running backs. They are, right?
I'd start Pollard though.
Personally. I would too. Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Yeah. Zeke's lost his touch. I don't know what happened with that dude.
Just age, man. You know, like over time, yeah. Pollard's super young comparatively.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Just
you get old.
Yeah, you know. So like, I'm not judging the guy, but Pollard clearly has the quicker step and has the more athletic prowess at this time, right? So. And on that too, right? Like I keep reading all this stuff from Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys, and it's always nonsense, right? Because it's always like, oh yeah, when Dak comes back, we're going to run just as much. No, you aren't. because
if it
you're
didn't-
running
if it
right
didn't work
now
then.
to protect your backup quarterback, right? Who's played great. I'm not giving him shit. I'm not.
Oh yeah, Cooper Rush has been
But
fantastic.
at no point has he exceeded 30 passes. People need to realize this, right? Like he's not throwing the level that Dak throws, right?
I would say,
And-
quarterbacks throw about 30.
Yeah, 30 is about the mark where your running
roughly.
game is doing its job. That's about
Yeah.
the level that you want of balls in the air before, like, okay, now we're in a little more of a Arizona, Kansas City situation where we got to throw 55 times, right?
Yeah.
Or a Carson Wentz situation, which, by the way, I see you added it. That was a good ad. I like that.
I did,
Yeah.
yes. I was like, you
Speaking
know what?
of, how was his week 3 performance?
Actually, let me pull it up for us.
Yeah. I don't
Week-
think it's a fair analysis. I think 9
Week
sacks
3
is pretty
against
fucking
Philly.
crazy. 9 sacks, dude.
Um,
Still managed 8 points.
it's still 8 points.
Yeah.
I'm not too upset about that.
No.
I think it really comes down to what can you do afterwards.
Yes. How does he respond?
It seems like they have, because you got to let's take a step back here. Jacksonville has been on a solid roll off the gate.
Yeah.
He had 20-some points against them.
27.
4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Don't get me wrong, picks is not great.
It's not great.
But you're still, if you're looking for, because you're looking for points. This is fantasy. You win it.
Yeah.
You want to win. 27, and then against Detroit, that is
Monster
fighting,
game.
always fighting to the bitter end. Again, another 27 points.
Monster
Philly,
game.
again, Philly's just another one of those teams that just kind of have a spark. They got something rocking
Yeah.
and rolling for
It's
them.
working for them right now.
I think they just kind of had a bit of an off game, and just nothing was shooting for them.
I want to add to this too, because like this is the most popular, well, not the most, but a huge factor is all those offensive weapons are coming and moving around rosters everywhere in the leagues, right? Listen, look, don't get me wrong. Curtis Samuel was a fantastic player. His speed is elite. There's no doubt. But you're going to see stuff like this, right? If Carson doesn't have time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter who's out there. It doesn't matter. But on top of that, be careful, right? Like, I understand Carson has done a great job with the first 2 weekends with them, and I don't have a problem with Carson, right? I don't. I think he's a great ad, and I think it's a dude that I would absolutely play if my starter was injured. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
That or, again, boom, buys again.
But
coming
watch
up.
out for these matchups, right? This is really where, like, we're starting to get super technical, and we're starting to get to realms that people don't care. It's more meta, but it matters, right? So, like, for the Eagles, Darius Slay completely shut down Jazzy Jeff. It wasn't even close. It was a terrible game for them, right? Darius Slay then went forward and shut down any Washington receivers in his AO, right? Or, excuse me, operating area. Excuse me. That whole thing was talent, right? Like, you have to watch these matchups, right? So, like, when they go to Dallas, is Samuels drawing Diggs or is McLaurin? And is that a risk you want to take? Because whoever draws Diggs probably going to have a rough game.
Yeah.
You know? And they're going to pick the hot hand. So whoever's doing best walking into that game, I understand Terry's fantastic. But if Terry's coming off a 6-point game, and let's just say for fantasy-wise, not in a literal football context way, right? Big games for them is something completely different than us, right? But for us, right, so it's a 6-point game, and Sam was coming off a 30-point game, who do you think's drawing Diggs? It's not McLaurin, right? So the more that Dallas can pressure, this is going to be a huge thing. Can they stop Micah Parsons? If they can, Wentz and all those weapons, great. You're going to have a pretty good weekend.
Woof.
Play them all, right? I'm willing to bet they can't because no one has so far.
Yeah, I say Parsons has been lining up all over that field.
All over,
Like,
dude. He's a straight
no matter
right?
where he is at, he's going to throw you different looks every play.
Yeah, if he's not successful on the left side, he'll go to the right side. If he's not there, like, he'll find a way where he's beating up whoever that lineman is, right? And that's the thing about this. We don't really talk a lot about defenses, but this is a good matchup potentially for Dallas' defense here. This is one I will play them.
Yeah,
yes, there's a huge threat.
That's why I picked them up. I like what they got going on, so I'm gonna ride this one out. I think this could definitely be a big because defenses always could shoot the bucket.
Yes.
Like last week, I had the Chargers because I was like, oh, they're just playing Jacksonville.
Yeah,
made a mistake.
Yeah.
So
well,
I think
I think the entire NFL made a mistake there because there were so many dudes that did so well in that game, which is another great game for like Robinson. Great game. I saw a couple of articles on ESPN the other day talking about how like we expect Kirk to have a larger drop off because there's a lot of mouths to feed. Let me break this down for you, Barney style. Right? Listen, Zay Jones is not a threat to Kirk. He's not a threat.
Yeah,
Zay
I don't
Jones
see
has
that.
success because now that they have a comfortable lead, Lawrence can pervade the field and make different decisions. But when it's tighter and when Kirk is his guy, okay, I don't care.
It really shows if they're playing from a lead.
Yes, which we haven't seen the opposite yet. We haven't, and that's something like you and I will go back and forth on Etienne and Robinson the whole time because until we see them get their shit kicked in, and then how they respond, right? That's we won't truly know, right? Because this offense hasn't been under duress just yet, right? But I think it's pretty obvious that Peterson's doing great for them. It's a system that Lawrence is thriving.
For sure, they have. I think they found a really good system. And
would you play Lawrence if your starter was out?
Wait 1 second, please.
Close, right? It's close to an yes.
That's something I'd question.
Yeah, it's close to a yes, though. Like I have Lawrence on my bench now, and I've got Burrow in, right?
Oh, is that where you went?
Yeah, I have him right now. But like, okay. I'm waiting for Dak to come back before I can sort out that.
That's fair. So do you think? Because do you remember if that was Dak's throwing hand?
It was. That was the problem.
Do you think that's kind of a big flex on how he?
I'm not even going to pick that bone, and that's largely because the Cowboys are a messy drama organization sometimes, and this is one of those times where like I don't give a fuck who's saying whatever. Until Dak is out there throwing the football, I don't fucking care, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll know because the injury report on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will say, yeah, he threw the ball, he's the starter. It's not if you're going to suggest if anyone's going to suggest that Dak is going to be benched in lieu of Cooper Rush, no, you're not going to pay you because they're paying Dak. Yeah, he's supposed to be the guy. He's the guy. He's more talented. He's got more time in the offense. There's a lot. Yeah. People are mad because they saw Dak come out and get stomped by Tampa. Listen, dude, a lot of teams get stomped by Tampa. Okay,
that's true.
What the fuck?
Tom Brady's Tom Brady,
right? Like, you can't sit here and say
Tom Brady's just be Tom Brady, no matter who the hell he's throwing it to.
Yeah,
because like last week, I picked up Russell Gage off the rip, not even off the rip, at the last second because I saw I don't remember who it was, go out.
Julio, probably Godwin in them.
I don't know because that's why I picked him up. It was like Julio, Godwin.
Oh, yeah.
And all those dudes were gone. So I was like, perfect. And then he ended up, I do a little
24.7 points.
Math here.
Because he's an LSU guy, and I watch all my LSU guys.
That's fair. He had a monster
game. The targets,
so I guess,
he had like 14, 16 targets, something crazy.
So, again, when it comes down to like Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay is going to Tampa Bay with Tom Brady.
And this is why, too, okay, so a little bit of context here, and this is why I wanted to get on the Tampa subject as well. Actually, did you have anything on week 3 that stood out to you that was like, hey, I've got to talk about this? Is there anything else that's pressing?
I forgot to actually look.
It's all good.
I had it open, and then I
did you happen to catch DeAndre Swift's insane play where he rolled on the ground and picked up, got up, and ran for a touchdown on a pass? It was crazy.
I don't think I caught that one.
Jared Goff found him, and he fell down, and no one touched him, so he got up and ran 30 yards for a touchdown. It was pretty good. Sorry.
I will say I will bring caution to James Conner.
Okay.
Especially after
I know you and I talked about it this
third week. He did pretty solid, 16 points against Kansas City. Then he did a 7-8 pointers. He's getting carries, some receptions. I don't think Arizona has it all there.
They do not.
I don't think running game is their forte right now. Not necessarily saying it's Connor's fault. I think it's more of a line fault because I still see Murray running around like his head's cut off.
That's why they made the list on one of my teams that doesn't have his shit together yet. Arizona's definitely on that
exactly.
list. 100%.
However, I will bring up Marquise Brown.
Yeah, no.
Hollywood, 14-12, boom, 28 points.
I'm so glad he worked out, man.
Massive game.
Because he's a fun player.
Last year. He definitely had a lot of receptions this last game, but even then, as a 14-12 point player, I will take those 14-12 points that I know that are solid. Yes. That's why you want to look at your averages and what they've produced already, rather than just some random
outlying game where they went for 30.
Yeah. Like, for example, I don't expect Brown to go off for another 28 points for another, 3 or 4 games. But if he could give me those 14-point games,
I'll take it.
You're a lineup. You're a flex right now. You're the flex because I know you can do that. And if I'm facing another guy that's just shooting in the wind over some predictions, That's how you're going to get your 1 and 2 wins out of here that make you get you that playoff.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but honestly, week 3, great week.
Yeah, I had a good week too.
I had 3 wins in all 3 of my leagues, back to back to back. I couldn't complain.
Yeah. My only caveat would have been Jazzy Jeff, but again, like, there's a lot on Minnesota that I wouldn't play right now.
That's a lot. That's a whole.
It actually it reminds me a lot of the Steelers, where they have all the talent in the world and a great running back, they just look awful,
horrible. They just can't put a.
It's not consistent, man. It's like, all right, opening drive, go down for a touchdown, and not touch the end zone again for 3 quarters. Yeah. It's crazy.
Randomly, yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So week 3. Other than that, like, my week 3 was rock solid. I had a lot. Again, okay. I'm gonna provide some background on a couple of things. One, first off, opening the season, I took a huge gamble, right? And we had a guy in our league, right, that had picked a little oddly because he was new to football, and so he grabbed a quarterback in the first round and happened to be Tom Brady. But that's okay. That at the end of the day, man, like, he may get the last lap because I don't think Tom Brady's a bad quarterback. I think right now Tampa's playing bad. So
yeah, they're just not doing great football right now.
He gave me an offer. He gave me Saquon for Uncle Lenny. And it was a good trade, but at the time I had like nothing for tight end. So I ended up doing Wilson, the rookie receiver for the Jets, and Lenny for Saquon and Zach Ertz, which patched up a couple holes. Okay, hindsight.
That worked.
In hindsight,
Saquon Barkley's back, baby.
Buddy, good luck stopping a dude that touches the ball 40 times a game. Whether it's rushing or passing, he is always out there.
He's getting those touches.
Yeah. It's been so dope to see because I had him last year and,
I pull him up here.
Wasn't great, man. And I was still sticking by him. I had to play him, and it worked out. It was fine at the end of the year. This year, yeah, man, I have no qualms.
You want his stats?
Hit me. Go ahead.
Yeah, points 33-11 against Carolina. Mm-hmm. That's a little off game, but came back against Dallas with a 22-pointer.
Yeah.
Again with touching your touches, 18, 21, 14. Those are just carries. He's also getting
5 to 6 yards a catch.
6, 3, and 4, and which is unbelievable right now.
That volume is unmatched, right? So like that worked out. Now, I say this to line up this part of our show. If you are now sitting at 0-3, 1-2, and let's say you're on the short bus to an 0-4 after the Bengals go off and some dude had Higgins or something, right? Who could have seen that? Yeah. or Hill, right? Like Hill also had a monster game, right? I'm not saying what you have right now is wrong. I'm not, right? A lot of this, there's really a huge chunk of luck about this game. We all know this.
For sure.
You never know who's going to do what. You truly don't, right? You can only just put out the best dudes that you can field, and you throw them out there, and hopefully you take a W, right? Mm-hmm. If you are now sitting though at those positions, it's time to start evaluating how you're going to rally that. That does not mean you go out and trade your number 1 overall pick for a couple of really good, consistent guys. That's value doesn't change like that, right? The guy that you picked overall, like your first overall pick, understand that he comes at a high premium, right? So if you're going to say, I'm just going to give an example because Derek and I talked about it. We didn't even like fully suggest or do it. He was really frustrated with Jamar Chase, right? Which was his first overall pick.
That's fair.
Right behind me. And I had Jazzy Jeff, right? Obviously, the both of us right now are not thrilled, right? But I've had enough makeups to where like I can get fine with Jefferson's bolos, but that won't stay that way. Over the course of the season, things are going to change, right? And we talked about I had Mike Evans and Cam Akers I was going to offer him for Chase. It probably would have deserved more like Mike Evans and CeeDee Lamb and Akers. That probably would have been more realistic to the value that Chase really is.
I kind of like that.
Now, does that mean that would agreed upon? Probably not. But don't give up your all-stars just for dudes that are good. If they're great,
or have done good, like
or have done good
that just the previous week they've done great.
You may need to evaluate.
That's a shoot in the dark.
Right. You may need to evaluate what you're doing. Don't go out and throw the kitchen sink for a player or two. Right. I'll put it out this way: my first 2 teams that were championship teams, One was a 1-3 team. The other one was an 0-4 team. You just have to
Kane
make it to the
storming
playoffs,
back.
dude.
Oh yeah.
Keep playing. Keep throwing them out there. If you're going to make a change, that's fine. But understand,
Sure.
like, you have to get that value back, right?
Mhm.
You're going to see a lot of trades coming up soon, right? Just
Yeah, I think your week 4 and
Week 4,
5,
5, and
where
6 is
things
when-
are going to start changing.
when things start to get a little fucking crazy.
I will add in a little
Go for it.
tidbit there. Watch your goddamn moves. Like when you get this little alert thing that pops up that says pending moves or
Yep.
what's your waiver or whatever, look for your trades. If you're not putting one out and you happen to get one, see who it's from, see what they
Yeah,
want.
see what's up.
Because that's also giving you information on who's willing to do a little
Where
wheeling
there's
dealing,
headspace at.
who's available, what's their headspace, so now you can
Yeah.
play off of them. You don't have to accept the offer off the rip.
No.
You can counter that
Yeah.
easily. If you think you could maybe switch some things up, or if you don't need that player, you could be like, hey, switch me this
Yeah.
tight end for this receiver to fill in a gap you might have with a bye coming up, an injury, season-ending injury.
And free agency is
What-
just decimated by picks throughout the course of a year, right?
Mhm.
So, like, in our 10-man league, like, I'm not saying it's slim pickings, but, like, at this point, everyone
Oh,
on
yeah.
that free
Once
agency
you're
is a dart. They may hit.
Yeah, like
I don't know, right? But they could also
yeah,
hit
like
one
our
point.
league right now is you never. That's free agency is not too great. In this other one, I mean, I
Not.
think it's an eight-man league.
Yeah.
There's a definitely significant difference of the free agency depending on the amount
Yeah, there
of
is.
people in your
Right.
league. Huge.
With that being said, what are some things that I would say? Like, you always see, like, buy low, sell high is a big thing with fantasy players, right? I would say at this point in the season, if you're in a rough spot, let's say you've had some big injuries. I don't really know of any too wild and out injuries just yet. Montgomery, maybe. Tua,
Kinda.
right? But if that was your
Keenan
starting
Allen a
quarterback,
little bit, maybe.
well, Keenan Allen, that's actually probably a good example.
Yeah, I have him sitting on my bench in I think 2 of the 3 leagues. It's just
This is something that you'll see every league too, every year. Listen, I understand he's the backup. He's going to get the majority of catches. That does not make him playable just because he's the only dude left, right? Ask Damian Pierce in Houston about that, right? He gets like 20 carries a game, and his value is still not great. But if he falls in the end zone, yeah, you're right, and I'd be wrong. But I'm willing to bet more often than not he won't score that touchdown, right?
Yep.
So if you're going to go out and say, I need a backup or I'm going to take a backup, listen, they're not the starter for a reason. They're great athletes, all of them. But, like, I've seen this time and time again already this year, right? Like, there are very few proven ones, right, that you and I have known through the years, right? Madison, very playable.
exactly.
But he can bowler, can he not?
He can bowl up. He can bowl absolutely, but there's also that's where you kind of gotta watch your matchups, see if he's practicing, is he getting after
Is he
it?
playing Chicago? Is he playing San Francisco? Right?
Yeah, like that again, the matchups. But he could definitely be that second guy if Cook is hurt.
Yes.
I think Cook is a little banged up right
He's
now.
banged up, but he got the tag pulled off for this weekend. We'll see how that really plays out.
So
right?
if he we'll
you
see how
might
that
throw a
goes.
dart if you were hurting for something, right? But, like, here's another one, Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert's a great athlete, right? He was great last year, and that's all wonderful. Chicago is still a very poor team. If you haven't watched the Chicago game, don't you dare for a second take that for granted.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's got a 15-point projection. Yeah, I've seen him end with 3.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Yeah.
Right.
It might look good. They sound good, but it's not consistent
I'm not
enough
saying
to make it worth it.
And you and I have seen plenty of situations where, like, they've got to play him. I feel you. I hear you. Right?
Oh yeah.
But here's what I'll see a lot of. And I'm not just talking about our league. I've seen a lot of leagues, right? Let's say someone has Herbert, Khalil Herbert on their bench, right? Monty goes out for the weekend, right? But also on their bench, they'll have, like, Olave, or they'll have Ayuk, or they'll have, what's another one that I've seen a lot that people aren't playing? Judy.
Like, you're just talking about, like, people sitting on the bench.
People that are on the bench, right? I'm going to be real. I'm going to throw a dart with one of my guys on my bench before I throw one with Herbert, if I can afford it, right?
That's fair, for sure. Like for me, I'd rather throw a dart at Cordero Patterson off the rip,
100%.
rather than doing out there fishing for someone that could just easily goose egg you.
Yes.
I have nothing.
Yes, it doesn't translate over the like, oh, well, he's a backup to Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is an amazing athlete. It doesn't make Madison not an amazing athlete, but the standard you're setting is not the same, man. Like, the guy's great for a 20-point game. Like, on a good day, if Minnesota's playing well, he can get you 20 points, maybe a little bit more than that.
But then again, that comes down to Minnesota
Playing well.
playing
Have
good.
you seen their games?
Jazzy Jeff and Thielen, they're just
right. If I didn't have other receivers,
are they even on the team?
If I didn't have other receivers right now, if I didn't have Michael Pittman, if I didn't have CeeDee Lamb, and at the time I had Mike Thomas, and now I have Mike Evans, right? Like, if I didn't have that, man, I'd be hurting with Jazzy Jeff as my corner.
Yeah, so you'd be down there,
right,
on the sucky train,
right?
now.
So just bear that in mind. Like, don't cut players that are in a slump just to grab a backup. That's what I'm getting at, the root of it, right? So, like, I'll give it a great example. I can always be wrong. All of us could always be wrong. But here's a good one that I had, right? I have Robert Woods now on my bench. By the numbers, if Tennessee wants to win a game, they're going to find him more on the field, right? Does that mean they will? No. But it does mean that I'm going to hold on to Robert Woods for any outlier. Like, I'm not going to drop him for Richie James in New York because he's the only receiver left, right?
Ooh.
I'm not going to pick up. There was another huge one, Zay Jones. Listen, Zay Jones is a great player, but Robert Woods is the number one receiver in an offense that's sputtering and needs to make a change, right? So you need to play the numbers. You need to play the logic. The veterans and the starters are veterans and starters for a reason. Don't just go out there and say, yeah, but like, the back has been playing great lately. I hear you. I really do. Who's another really big one that's been doing this a lot in Vegas?
The
backup for
coming in?
Renfro has gone off for like 20 points and then 30 points. Yeah.
I do believe I just saw Renfro go.
He's out this week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just saw that come across.
But what I'm saying is, like, don't drop like Jerry Jeudy to make that guy on your roster come hell or high water.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I would throw him in your IR slot.
Yes.
And then go pick up whoever just to fill the slot. And if he magically
does well,
tickles
great.
or I think don't drop off.
No.
Do not
don't make radical changes to guys who just haven't been doing well lately, because I got the truth
unless
for you.
they're like it's a season-ending injury or like this dude won't play until like week 8, 17.
You are no
whatever.
longer in a position at 1-2 and 0-3. You are no longer in a position to wait for your rookie to pop off. If you've got a rookie on your bench,
if you have a rookie just chilling,
I'm sorry, man, you're out of time.
Unless it's like Pickens,
which is the only reason I can hold on to Pickens is because I'm in a 2-1 position, right? And even then, it's because I have a fuck ton of really good receivers, right? I can afford that luxury of maybe he breaks out, but I don't know that he will. I don't know that he'll ever be a consistent player this year. Not for fantasy, not in an offense that has excellent receivers all around, right? So the sell high, buy low thing. Don't go out there and get rid of starters. And this, how many times have we said this one? Lateral movement. Listen, you don't trade a B plus receiver for another B plus receiver. You have the same fucking issue. You have the same issue, right? And in case anyone hasn't watched running backs this year, all running backs can bolo. I don't care who you are.
Yep.
All of them can, right? The whole assumption of like, look, it's been, how long has it been, Brian, where it's like the first 2 picks are always running backs for you? That's been a fantasy thing for a long time.
Yeah, that's been pretty consistent because you want a solid
a guy who's
out
on the field the most, right? That was the logic, right? Mm-hmm. And it just so happens that the NFL has moved into a more passing arena, and now the receivers are as valuable as yes, they'll have bad weekends, yes, but did y'all last on week 2? Mixon had 5 points and was out there most of the game.
Just doing his thing, but
man.
Just
right?
Nothing clicked for him.
Right. The big one is McCaffrey. A lot of people are disappointed with McCaffrey, but I got news for you, man. He's above 15 points every weekend. You're going to take your W and walk away.
Yeah. Again, that's what I came down when I was talking about like Marquise Brown and those other consistent guys. If he could do 14 points a game,
you let it ride.
You let that ride. Don't freak out about that one because that's already a hard.
Nope.
Just let that one go. Focus on whatever else.
Tyreek Hill, week 2 had 5 points. What do you have last night? 26 points.
Easily.
Let it go, right? It's going to go up and down like that. Don't sit here and just say, oh, it's only going to be bad. Don't dump your entire bench and rosters because you're mad. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. You just look again. My two champ teams
It will frustrate you.
What's that?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying this will frustrate
Frustrating.
you.
And you're you know how it goes too, Brian.
It's not pretty.
You're looking at the season projections on the app. You're like, "Fuck, I'm the worst one," or like,
Yep.
"I'm going to be
same." I'm literally sitting at like the very end of the bottom there, and they're like, "You're gonna you're supposed to be garbage."
You have an
team.
awful roster. I'm 2-1, and I'm well on my way to another win. Right, so
feeling great.
You know, even if my guys well and I didn't win this weekend, right? Like this is the thing. My point is, right?
You always there's a lot of football
keep
to play.
Playing. Keep
playing. Keep looking at your app.
Yeah.
Keep looking at any trades
Pay
coming
attention
in.
to it, yeah. Because, like, I mean, one of my first things that I do, well, I do it all the time because I have a problem, right? But the other things is, like, come game day on Sunday, I scroll through the free agency probably 50, 60 times before the first kickoff because somehow he's not playing today. He wasn't on the injury list, but he's not playing today. So his backup's in there. Maybe I want to take a shot.
Okay.
Right? Like, a great example would be, like, if Jamal Williams, some reason, had the flu, Craig Reynolds is an auto start. You pick him up because he's the only guy they have left. That's why. Yeah,
right? Like when it came down to me with picking up Russell Gage, I was like, he's literally the number one guy right now.
That's all they have.
Everybody else are gone.
Yeah.
So
and that's
it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
And as you can see too now,
so it could also pause, sometimes it don't work.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I go for 3 points.
Sometimes it burns.
Yes. Sometimes it's bad. But that's the risky take, right? And I left my tangent on the Bucks, and this is something that I'm starting to appreciate now, right? So like I said, I had Dak, and then I had Trey Lance as quarterback. So obviously the beginning of the season was not great. Mm-hmm. And I made a trade with Ditz on Joe Burrow and Mike Evans for Mike Thomas, Winston, and Zach Ertz. He had just lost Schultz. So it was like, again, trying to fill a gap. And Ertz is very playable.
For sure,
and it worked out. And I'm sure Mike Thomas will be fine. It's just one of those things where this weekend he may be out. But, like, I got news for you. Mike Evans always misses games in the season. So it'll balance out. It really won't go.
Yeah, same.
Always misses games, right?
I remember last year he
like
missed
3 or
a couple
4.
games.
It was a bunch comparatively, right?
But he's still produced.
When he goes out there, and I know Godwin right now is questionable, you always – listen, don't expect 30-point games from Godwin just yet. He's going to get back to form. But my point bringing it up is, like, now Evans is all they fucking have again, right? Like, you don't know that until you're in that point of the season where guys who haven't been playing well, like, again, God forbid, let's say Higgins got injured for a week or two. Yeah, Jamar Chase is going to fucking flourish. Yes, that will happen. And Boyd will do great, and Mixon will do great, right? The trio of that receiving core doesn't get worse with one of them out. The other two get better, right? So hold your guys. If it's week 4 or 5, if we have the next time we do this show and you're 0-4, all right, look, we're going to have to talk. We've got to make some hard decisions.
Something's got to
Something's not working. So it's either you're adamant on a player that's not breaking out or running backs are falling through or something, right? That's a different conversation. But you're still right now holding those guys. You're still taking a look at it. They always cost a premium. Don't just say, oh, well, I'm 0-3. Let me give Alvin Kamara for, Ayuk. Don't do that. I understand that Ayuk now is in an advantageous position, but he's with a quarterback that's not doing great right now. You don't know that will work out. It might. And because Mitchell's out and Debo's in the backfield more, Ayuk's playing a lot more, getting a lot of looks. These are all true things. That doesn't matter in the sense that once New Orleans figures it out, Kamara is an excellent running back. Don't panic and then just toss him off, right?
You're going to pass.
There are many starters that people remember from last year.
Be lucky his damn freaking speed in traffic thing, court, whatever, keeps on pushing away.
Let's just hope that's never an issue, right? No cause for concern or anything, right? And that's where, at the end of the day, man, like that's really where we get down to the root of it. Just relax. Keep playing football, right? The next injury, you don't know, could hugely favor you. The next matchup, the next whatever. The next week, your quarterback has more rapport with the rookie receiver who hasn't seen the football much, right? It will buff for this weekend, right? Transition to the last part of tonight's show, recommendations or anybody this weekend that you're keeping an eye on. Anybody pop off the screen for you who has like a really good matchup or something that you're expecting big time?
Actually, if I can remember how to use this. Oh, there it is. Looking for my watch. It's a weird thing of yes but no. I like my roster. I like kind of like what's going on.
Read off your roster since folks at home don't know.
So currently, Matthew Stafford, Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, Deebo Samuel, Marquise Brown, Pat Freiermuth, T. Higgins, James Conner, the Dallas Cowboys defense, Tyler Bass, the kicker. Don't get me wrong, Keenan Allen would probably be in there. However, he's been ruled out, I think, this evening or so for this game. So he's currently sitting on the bench.
Get a buck. It's all right.
I kind of like where things are kind of chilling out right now. I'm definitely hesitant about James Conner. I think he might end up finding his way on the bench this week, and someone's going to plop that spot. I might put Josh Jacobs in there just because Josh Jacobs is looking a lot more promising than James Conner. It's the involvement. It's the bit of a matchup they got kind of going on. Like Josh Jacobs against Denver. Not a bad idea. I know he can definitely get out there. I know Denver's kind of whatever at this point. It's weird. I haven't seen Denver get really blown out, but I haven't seen Denver do anything either.
Yeah, they don't play great.
So
okay.
We'll kind of see at that. I don't really have too many popping off the shelf at me right now.
Okay.
So it's just kind of watching.
I've got CeeDee Lamb against Washington that I'm expecting big things from.
That's fair.
Pittman might still be a hair dinged up, but he's got a really good matchup. But I think the number one guy that I'm obviously pumped for is Saquon at Chicago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'll take that.
I expect huge things from Saquon
against a team that's just not good. They're just not. Chicago is not a good team. They're not. If you're going to talk about, they just won with defense and pick six. Yeah, again, if over 30% of your offensive points came from a defensive pick six, you suck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not looking great. that's all defense right there.
You have less than 40 pass attempts for your quarterback all year long. It's week 4. What the fuck are y'all doing? What are you doing? Right? Sorry, I can't get over the craziness that is Chicago right now. Right? But that's the ones that I'm really looking forward to.
That's fair.
Let me ask you this. So right before we go, there's a couple of starters that are kind of banged up. Let's say for the sake of this weekend that they're out. So let's say if McCaffrey's out, are you playing his backup?
Is that Hubbard? Correct.
It's Hubbard and Foreman, Donta Foreman. It's
they split.
We don't know yet. We don't know how they'll play yet.
I got you because
no, right?
I don't think I would look to see who's on your bench because I'm assuming someone else on your bench. If you drafted kind of okay, there's someone on your bench that's a little either healthy or even starting that can fill those shoes because I don't see Hubbard or that because that could be a split backfield as it stands now.
And it's still not good as it is with one being the forerunner, right? One I would keep an eye on is if Kamara's out, I will play Mark Ingram. I will do that. Mark Ingram is a very playable backup. I understand last time he didn't do great. If you take that fumble away, it's a 10-point game on a team that they sucked against, right? It was the whole offense was terrible, right? You can play Ingram. He's a playable backup. I wouldn't be too concerned. But another a good one for Amon St. Brown. With him out, I feel you. I know Goff has been throwing well. You'd be hard-pressed for me to bench one of my receivers to play a backup receiver for Detroit. You'd be hard-pressed.
Yeah.
I know Swift is out, but Jamal Williams does fill that gap just fine. I don't think that's
for sure. I definitely agree there.
Let's see. Is there anyone else I'm looking at that could potentially be out?
I do got a thing with the Tampa Bay receivers.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I think it was Godwin that was.
Godwin still has a few
Evans. Okay, so is Julio Jones, but Evans was suspended, correct?
No, he's back now. There's just one game.
Oh, well, I was supposed to say he's back for this game.
Yeah. Julio Jones looks like he's probably going to sit.
Yeah,
throwing Gage.
If that was my next point. If Julio Jones sits and if Godwin sits, I would probably
I'd play Gage.
And I would throw Cage back in there.
I would play Cage
because if we could go back, take a peek at him real fast.
I'm just checking real quick to see all the injuries for whoever's got what's going on. And then
Yeah.
You should know roughly about this time if their backup's worth even like picking up off waivers, right? Obviously, you don't ever pick up backup quarterbacks, right? Don't do that. You're in for heartbreak if you do. Justin Herbert's is fully ready to rock and roll. Of course, you're playing him.
Okay, here we go. So Godwin, hamstring, Julio Jones, knee, game time decision.
Yeah.
So for Russell Gage, that could easily be the second man up there.
I probably would take that as Julio not playing. I'll be real.
I would too.
Would say probably
that
not
dude's
playing.
old.
Yeah. I mean, like
I don't expect. Yeah.
And it's actually funny. It's not even the same injury that people are keep giving him shit about. Like usually it was his hamstring. He actually had a tear in his PCL in his knee, so he had a legitimate injury.
Ooh.
But because he's past 2 seasons been out a lot, people didn't give a fuck, and they just said, "Oh, he's old," right? But it is a real injury. So but it'd be like that sometimes, All right, man. If you had to, if you had to pick, and so our last thing before we bounce, if you had to pick up an ad of the week or player of the week that's now on rosters or something like that, is there anyone that comes to mind other than Russell Gage?
Like a person that you could.
Oh, excuse me.
Right,
I just worded that. I'm sorry, dog. Excuse me.
You're fine.
Are there any backups of the week that you'd be willing to play? Like, would I play Andy Dalton? I might if it was like the only dude left. Right?
Is he down with the Saints right now?
Yeah, he's with the Saints. Yeah, so he'll have that. So Dalton's the starter because Winston's out for sure. Would I recommend if you had anyone else? No.
I don't know.
I would play Justin Fields over Andy Dalton.
Really?
I would because of the rushing.
Okay, I can buy into that. As a fantasy point standpoint, I can buy into that.
Yeah, not happily. But another good example is like Olave. I'm playing Olave with Thomas out. I'm playing Olave, 100%. I don't care that it's Dalton throwing.
Do you think Jarvis Landry gets any better looks on that?
Yes. If Jarvis is healthy, I'd play him too. Yes, I would.
Because he did 18 points first week.
But he got banged up or something. I'm not exactly sure.
He did. He got an ankle. I think. It says ankle here.
How do you feel
questionable.
Because you have him.
No, I do. Yes.
Is he droppable?
No. Honestly, I'm thinking. I don't want to keep too many. I'm looking into this whole Russell Gage thing just as an overall because I would love to have a good big explosion on play, because if you could guess and make it work out to you and you have a stellar person come in and just, like, for example, Russell Gage for me stepped in last week. If you could do that back to continuously, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Landry, he's been on my bench ever since I picked him up,
and it's probably worked out a little bit better now.
I literally drafted him in the 12th round.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a long pick at all, though.
So
no,
I don't see him getting any better looks. I think Michael Thomas will take most of the looks anyhow.
Well, Michael Thomas is out this weekend.
Oh, so that's confirmed.
Yes,
correct?
He's out, 100%. He's already been ruled out. Now it changes a little bit, right? A little bit. Changed a little bit.
I can see
but
him
still,
having
Jarvis has been.
I can see him having a 10-point game, but you also got to think it factors in Andy Dalton's throwing.
New offense.
The running games. The running game's really not there to begin with. Nope. So nothing's complementing each other at all down there.
I
think Landry's definitely a safe bench player right now.
My last thing before we bounce is my dark horse of the week, someone who hasn't been doing well that I expect great things from this weekend. Elijah Moore with Zach Wilson back. Watch out.
Okay.
Watch out. That's my dark horse pick. Any dark horse for you?
Dark horse that's going to splash on the scene. Devontae Parker.
Devontae Parker. Actually, I like it because he went ham a week or two ago.
He had a 20-point game last week.
He was everywhere.
He's going into Green Bay.
Brian Hoyer's a pure passer. That's the backup for Mac Jones. Right. So,
I'm
playing Stevenson. I'm not thrilled about that. I might throw in Akers and say, fuck it, because at some point, some Rams running back has to play.
That's allegedly.
Allegedly?
I'll have to go with Parker on that one. If not Parker, definitely take yourself a look at Jacoby Myers.
Yes.
I think Jacoby Myers, for sure. If he plays and he's healthy, I think he has a better consistency than Parker. But between those two, if you're looking for a receiver kind of that kick in there, that I think they both could have a stellar game.
I like it.
It just depends. It depends on who.
I like it.
So,
all right. Well, hey, man. Anything else for
yes, sir. I got a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
Just spitting out a whole lot of numbers and trying to keep them straight.
That's right. All righty. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us this weekend. Best of luck on your games. Don't panic.
Oh, yeah.
Don't jump for your first rounders. And if you do, make sure you get the absolute biggest value for them. We will catch y'all next week. Best of luck 0-3s and 1-2s. It'll rally. Just keep playing.
Good luck. See you next week.
Bye-bye.